Barry and I are product people. That's our background. And so we lead Interchain Labs. And the ICF is composed of a board of now 3 people who essentially manage the funds and make sure that Interchain Labs is funded.
GM. In this episode, we're joined by Magmar, who is the co-founder of Skip Protocol, and now he is leading Interchain Labs under the Interchain Foundation. Cosmos has been in the forefront of blockchain interoperability, and today we'll explore its evolution, technical breakthroughs, and the latest revitalization efforts, including what Atom Enlightenment means for the ecosystem. This is BlockHunters Voices, the podcast with cool kids from the blockchain space. I'm Joachim Bush, your host. Hi Magmar, thanks for being here. You're a busy man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Magmar, tell us a little bit about your background. How did you end up in crypto and then go to co-found your Skip protocol?
Sure. So I got into crypto really early when I was about, I want to say like 13 or 14. I started to mine Bitcoin on like my laptop and Dogecoin because I thought it was funny. Then I was involved in building an early ASIC miner for Litecoin, and purchased and like modified one of the first ones that came out around the age of 15. I got really excited about it, and basically throughout high school and afterwards, I was sort of getting like pilled on Ethereum, and I moved out to San Francisco in about 2016 to start one of the very first NFT projects that was built on Ethereum called Cent, Cent.co, rebranded as Valuables. They sold tweets as NFTs, and it sold like the Jack Dorsey tweet for $2 million. If you like recall that, it was like a big NFT sale back in the day. I went to college and I studied finance because I thought that was the closest thing to crypto, and I was very interested in financial markets. I went into sort of quantitative trading. After that, I worked at a firm called Bridgewater, Ray Dalio's company, that basically does like macroeconomic investments. Got super bored and went into like more product stuff. And I worked at a company called Atlassian as a product manager, building out huge scale Web2 products like Jira and Confluence. And then I basically in like 2020, 2021, I sort of was like, what the hell am I doing? Like, this is completely stupid and not fun. And also like, I didn't see like meaningful impact come out of like enterprise scale software. So I called up my best friend, Barry, who I roomed with in college. And we took a bunch of like hard computer science classes together. And I basically said like, we should get into this crypto thing. And we got interested in MEV first. Classic, right? Like trading background, deeply technical. And so we started the first MEV company in Cosmos. It was built on top of Terra. It was called Skip, which I assume most people are familiar with. But very early days, we built modified versions of the Tendermint consensus client that let you reprioritize transactions. Over time, we realized MEV wasn't actually the thing that was going to grow the ecosystem, and we cared deeply about the ecosystem. And so we started to build interoperability tooling like Skip Go and the Skip API and IBC Fund, which now process the majority of IBC volume in the ecosystem. But it still wasn't enough, is the truth, right? We felt like we didn't have the level of impact that we needed to have to actually make like a number one crypto ecosystem, and we wanted to be in a number one crypto ecosystem, but we still believed that Cosmos was the right answer. And so that's what led us to today, which is the ICF acquisition and basically inheriting the resources of the ICF and being sort of much higher in terms of the influence that we can affect. Now we view us having the right platform and the right level of resourcing and the right visibility to completely reshape the ecosystem into something that we think is going to be tremendously better. on like almost every category, in terms of technical performance, in terms of ecosystem development and marketing and growth efforts, in terms of sort of community management, and in terms of getting in like the best and most interesting application developers around, to sort of like build on this thesis of the Internet of Blockchains, which we view as the most compelling thesis that blockchain has ever really created.
Wow, that's quite a journey, Magmar. I mean, how old are you? Like 26, 27 now?
28, close.
28. Yeah, 28. I feel so old because I'm 32. You did so much stuff from when you were young.
I had good support along the way.
Yeah, you can't do anything without support. But tell me a little, for the folks out there, what exactly is Interchain Foundation and Interchain as a whole to the Cosmos ecosystem?
Yeah, it's all just confusing naming, right? So let's take Solana as an example. There's the Solana chain, there is the Solana Foundation, and there are Solana Labs, right? In Cosmos, we have the hub, right? The original Cosmos chain, a bunch of other chains too. We have the Cosmos Foundation and Cosmos Labs. The only difference is that one is called Cosmos, and the Interchain Foundation and Interchain Labs are called Interchain. But really, they're just the Cosmos Foundation and Cosmos Labs. Very similar to like Solana. Um, and what I mean by that is the Interchain Foundation is dedicated to growing Cosmos and growing the technological improvements, and also growing the hub, right? And Interchain Labs is the actual set of developers who do the above, right? Foundation has the money and the overall oversight, and then the labs entity is the thing that actually builds it.
Execution.
So, yeah, execution arm, exactly. So Barry and I are product people. That's our background. And so we lead Interchain Labs. And the ICF is composed of a board of now 3 people, who essentially manage the funds and make sure that Interchain Labs is funded.
Yeah, just saw the latest announcement that Ethan Bachman stepped from the foundation.
Yeah, exactly. So he was a previous board member or foundation council member, and he stepped down, partially to create sort of like a new leadership change, which I think he's been wanting to do for a long time, and then also partially to remove, like as part of the removal of the team of teams model. So previously, Interchain Foundation. Also, I wish my shirt wouldn't like. Hold on, okay, maybe it's better. In Interchain Foundation funded a bunch of teams to work on the tech. They did not work on it themselves. They funded Binary, Informal, Strangelove, Confio for Cosmosm, etc. Interchain Labs now does all of that work, all of it. We do Cosmosm, we do Cosmos SDK, we build IBC, we build Comet, we build basically all of it. And so what we did was we cut away the other teams, because now Interchain Labs is the only entity that does that. That is fully owned by the ICF.
So no more third party.
No more third parties. No more team of teams. These teams are great, right? I don't want to say these teams are not good. These teams are excellent, and they will go on to do amazing things, like start their own chains and run their own businesses. But the ICF is now funding is basically focusing
Only
all
in
of
house.
Yeah, it's all in house. I think in house is excellent. It means that we build everything together instead of everything as different teams in different places, right? We build the stack with the hub and with IBC and everything in one place, right? One office, which means that we are building something that is unified and something that can be shipped significantly faster, right? Because previously, maybe the SDK creates a new version. Well, that version is dependent on a new version of Tendermint. Tendermint is waiting on a new version of IBC, and everyone's waiting on each other. No one's really talking. They're all different companies, and it became very slow, right? Now it's literally the same engineering manager, and we're all building it literally like next to each other. Like the desks are next to each other, And so you can shout across the room and say, hey, when is this going to be ready? Previously, you had to wait 2 months to have an alignment meeting with a different company to find out what the progress is, right? It's completely different.
Thank you for this, Magmar. You told me your personal journey and how did you ended up here, but can you tell me a little bit about the Cosmos Hub's history? When was it launched, and any other historic moments from the ecosystem?
Sure. So the Cosmos Hub was created in 2017. The first thing that happened was the Atom ICO in 2017. So it was sold to retail and investors who purchased it. It was one of the most successful ICOs in history. And the original, and it was the first chain to use the Cosmos SDK, right, and Comet, or what was called Tendermint at the time. These things were built in parallel initially. They were built to be a unified story, right? So the idea was that there would be a hub chain and that there would be zones around the hub chain, right? Zones are other chains. And that the hub chain would be the IBC hub. Basically, it would be the core piece of the interoperability, right? The reason for that is because point-to-point IBC, where you connect from one chain to another directly, is a terrible idea. Like if you scale it, right? Because of the way that the security assumptions of IBC work. Basically, when I transfer from my chain to your chain, I give you a wrapped version. And then if you transfer that to another chain, you give a doubly wrapped version, which makes the UX like terrible and liquidity fragmented. So the hub was designed to be the central point that unwraps all the assets. That didn't happen. What happened instead was basically the team behind the hub imploded and fractured. It was mostly a political thing. Politics played by the early founding teams. And the hub was basically shoved aside while everyone went off to build other chains. And so the problem of IBC, as initially envisioned, persisted, right? Now we have 30,000 different versions of all these assets and all these different chains, and nobody knows which one is correct. So we have all the issues that were predicted. The other thing that I don't think people realized, that we now realize, is Cosmos is way too complicated. I think when you are interested in the Ethereum ecosystem, the first thing that you do once you're sold is you buy ETH. Then after that, you go on to buy all the surrounding tokens, right? If you like them, if you use them, etc. What is that token for Cosmos, right? Everyone competes to be that token, right? Oh, maybe it's Atom, maybe it's Osmo, maybe it's Juno, maybe it's Tia, maybe it's Barachain, right?
That's how you get to atom alignment, your next vision, right?
Yeah. So like, I don't have some weird obsession with Atom because of Atom. What it is literally the first token, and it was designed to be the token that was this centerpiece, right? And people believe that even now, right? Even after it not becoming what it was meant to be, people believe this token is important. This is why it survived with basically very like zero marketing and zero effort. The community has kept this asset as like a top 60 token for 7 years, right? It's like an incredible accomplishment. And so what we're actually doing is we're executing on the roadmap that was initially designed for Atom back in 2017, which is to make it an IBC hub and to make it a true Schelling point within Cosmos, and thereby grow the ecosystem more, right? Ultimately, like, fighting with Atom is just hurting yourself. Like, I've seen this happen, right? All these tokens that want to be the next Atom or want to be the hub just end up dying, or end up just getting completely obliterated. The better approach is, okay, this is a hub. It serves a purpose. It helps my chain grow. It gives me a community to at least start with, and it lets me exceed whatever I was going to try to do by competing with it directly, right? And that is the core tenet of Atom alignment.
And I saw that basically for now we have 3 new chains confirmed for Atom aligned, one of them being Alice.
Yeah, so Ellis is a great example of this. I mean, they are a great team. I've gotten to know them. They're incredible executors. They're early. The project just started, just went live. And from their perspective, as far as I understand, atom alignment is a no-brainer, right? It's something that's obviously a good idea. The reason for that is the atom community is massive, strong, and in many cases, because the ICO started at basically $0, rich, right? And are willing to basically use their atom for different things on chain. The other piece is the ICL is atom aligned, right? We are atom aligned, and so is the ICF. And so you get the backing of a organization with over $300 million in its treasury to support you, to market you, to provide liquidity for your product, and to make sure that you're successful, right? That's never existed in Cosmos before. And then you get association with the primary brand asset in Cosmos. Like if you go to Coinbase and you look up Atom, the ticker is Cosmos, right? Like these things are combined. And so instead of denying who you are, embracing who you are and actually just being value additive to the core piece of the ecosystem, like is so much of an easier path, right? It's like it's an easy path with immediate gain and long-term gain. If you accrue Atom in your application, Atom goes up, and then you have a benefit to that as well. You have like incentive alignment.
So instead to fight with the hub, we have to become friends with the hub. The main thesis is very simple.
Yeah, it's sort of like people I know who have terrible relationships with their mother or their parents usually have a harder life than people who have excellent relationships, right? Like it's something that you're not going to be able to get rid of. The hub will always be, Atom will always be associated with Cosmos, right? If you're using the tech because it's genuinely the best tech on the market, like this will surround your narrative forever. Like you can deny it, you cannot, like, but it is your narrative, right? You are literally building in the internet of blockchains because you are a blockchain, right? And you are connected to other blockchains. That was the vision of Atom. That is the vision that it created. It was the first of its kind. And so you can like deny your relationship, or you can be like, oh, this is great. Like, let us make this successful together. And chains are doing that, and they're being rewarded for it.
Besides the whole atom alignment, what kind of other strategies will you implement under your new leadership?
So many things. Atom alignment is designed for incentive alignment, and it works for some chains. I don't think it works for every chain. And it especially probably doesn't work for chains that have already made part of their marketing as Atom unalignment, which is ridiculous, but also true in some cases. And so what we actually want to do is tie the value of Atom not just to something that is mimetic, but tie the value of Atom to something that is product oriented, meaning that you get an incredible service, and in return, you basically benefit Atom in some way, right? So basically, one of the best things about the acquisition is that the IBC team, which lived in ICF, and Skip, which built Skip Go and IBC.fun, which is the front end and the API that powers IBC, combined, right? And the teams literally now work together under the same management. And what came out of that is the idea to create something completely new that used a pivotal new change in IBC called IBC v2 or Eureka to create this like super product that was an interoperability protocol that could connect any chain anywhere, and to basically have the hub play a piece in that. So that is what Eureka is. It is basically a completely rethought version of IBC with all the batteries included. It includes fast relaying, it includes provers, it includes fast transfer. So all of these assets move in less than 30 seconds. It includes like the API and the Go widget and interface that is already developed. And you get all of this basically for free, right? And it's like literally the best bridge on the market. Like it will be by a massive margin the best way to interoperate with other chains, even if you're not in Cosmos, even if you're an L2 going to a different L2, or if you're an L2 going to Solana, or Solana going to Osmosis. Like, all of these will be solved. And the vision there is to make the hub the router, right? So if we're building the internet of blockchains, you need a central router for to make that make sense. And there are a bunch of new launches coming out in Cosmos relatively soon. Babylon, Nillion, and a couple others that maybe in stealth. And this is a product that I think is much more exciting to those people, because they're actually getting a service. They're not just giving Atom money to Atom, right? They're actually also getting a service that, yes, is beneficial to Atom. It routes through the hub, or it accrues some kind of fees that go to Atom, but it also gives them like the best bridge on the market and enables massive UX gain for their own users. So this is the other thing that we're working on.
Sounds like a plan, Magmar. I really like the whole vision and the whole roadmap. Moving forward, I want to know a little bit about Magmar. What drives you? Who are you? But not the founder. Who are you at your essence? Because I can see that you're very driven.
I don't really know how to answer that question, but I can try. Well, I live in New York City. I moved to the States when I was 15, so I guess I immigrated here. Before that, I lived in multiple different countries, and so I always feel a little bit probably like a foreigner, or an outsider. It's probably a better word. I'm generally quite ambitious, and I generally have a very hard time working towards goals that I view as like short term. So whether that's like the goal of making money, or the goal of like short term success, or something that I think would be forgotten, I'm much more excited to like spend my, let's call it like most productive 20 years of my life working towards like some major goal that would actually impact the world in a way that like I could look back on and say, okay, this was actually meaningful and changed literally people's lives. And I'm also like an extremely technical person. Like, I grew up on the internet. I grew up mining blockchains. I'm like very, very pilled. And like, part of my thesis was basically, well, most of blockchain right now is complete garbage. Like, in its design, it makes promises that are just not true about whether it's private or whether it's truly decentralized or resistant to sort of like government censorship. Some actively censor, like Ethereum. Like, when that started to happen, I just left the ecosystem. I thought, this is completely retarded. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, this is literally not what we designed from the early days, or what we thought. And Cosmos attracted me because it's extremely pure, right? It's extremely honest about decentralization. It is actually decentralized, right? It actually has a structure where it is very hard to take down things. And you've seen this. Chains can go to zero, but the whole Cosmos stays alive. Anything inside can die. The whole thing stays alive. It's like and so many ecosystems have tried to crush Cosmos or take all of its ideas and like push it down or like shit on it, and it can't die because it's actually decentralized.
It's a living mechanism.
Yeah, you cannot kill it. Even though sometimes you wish some chains would die, they will not, right? And to me, this was just like genuinely exciting. Like, okay, well, here is obviously the best implementation of blockchain that has ever been thought of. This should be the most successful thing. But it happens to be very decentralized and, have a lot of properties that are radically different from every other blockchain ecosystem. Like, can we solve what I view as the hardest problem of making the best designed system and the system that literally everyone else just copies in various forms, and make that the most successful blockchain ecosystem? Like, this to me is like probably one of the greatest challenges that you can have in crypto, right? Like, this is one of the greatest intellectual challenges. one of the greatest like commercial challenges, and something that I think is genuinely good for the world, because I would rather the world look like Cosmos. I do not want the world to look like Solana. Like, I do not want that world. I will leave, right? And I definitely don't want the world to look like Ethereum. Like, I want the world to look like Cosmos. I want there to be actual decentralization and sovereign communities and an internet of blockchains versus one giant blockchain. And so, like, I love this space, and this is the only way I can think of like the actual right way to push it forward.
What has been the hardest moment in your professional journey, and how did you end up to push through it?
I think the hardest moment was before the acquisition, when we felt that there was no way for us to like really affect Cosmos in a way that would change its direction. There was so much politics and drama, and there was so much insider dealing. And we felt, since we were outsiders, because we had joined not at the ICO and we were new, and all we wanted to do was build good things and make the ecosystem grow, we felt really discouraged. And so it was a very emotional, difficult moment where we started to go to venture investors and basically say, we're going to build a new Cosmos completely differently, with different people and actual like correct forms of governance and decentralization and good product and good UX. And we were about to raise like at a $1 billion valuation right before the acquisition. Then like the ICF basically came to us and said, well, how about you don't do that and you do that here, right? And so we sold for a fraction of what we would have raised. Like really like a terrible financial decision for us. But like that was like such a crazy moment for me, because it means that now we have no investors. Literally, we have no VCs, right? We have no advisors. We have basically a full mandate, right? And we have a massive treasury to do it with. And it's like, it's felt like the most freeing point in my career, where like we can literally make Cosmos into anything that it should be or can be, or that the community wants it to be.
Turn your dream into reality.
Yeah, it was like a huge resolution for me, because I'm like deeply emotionally attached to Cosmos, the people inside of it, the dreams, the vision, the technology. I mean, I've worked on it for now most of my professional career. And so to abandon that and start something new just because of the people at in leadership, like was really sad. And this resolution to me like made me extremely motivated and happy.
How do you stay mentally resilient in an industry as fast-paced and unpredictable as this one that we are working in? Ups and downs, market volatility, drama, politics.
I think a lot of resilience in crypto has to do with if you're reactive or you're proactive. So if you are reactive in crypto, I think you will generally just burn out. Reactive basically means looking at what happens on a per day or per minute or per second basis and reacting to it and updating your assumptions based off of that. Proactive basically means that you are working backwards from an end state, and you are making progress towards it every day, right? So we have an end state of an internet of blockchains that rivals like the today's implementation of the internet, right? Our own implementation should rival today's implementation. Almost nothing that happens on a day-to-day basis outside of the work that we do impacts getting to that goal. In fact, most things counteract that goal, right? Most other crypto ecosystems actively counteract getting to like a truly open internet. And so it's very easy for me to either ignore them, or if I view them as basically making us any less likely to achieve our goal, to just shoot them down and to defend like what we're doing. Because like I have no like qualms doing that, because like I actually I think it's worth it in the end. Like I'm very fine cutting people off who just want to like trade on centralized systems and trade meme coins. Like that they actually don't affect whether the decentralized internet is created or not. They have no impact, right? Zero impact. And so it's very easy for me to just say, okay, like this doesn't matter to me. Because I'm generally like not very money motivated. Like the price stuff also impacts me. I mean, it impacts me some, but a little bit less. Uh, I generally view that if we even come close to accomplishing our goal, like the price changes that we're talking about today are just going to be inconsequential compared to an asset that rivals something like the US dollar. Um, none of it means anything. And so I think it's really about working backwards from an end state that you believe that you can achieve, or that you can at least spend your life getting closer to, and seeing the progress there, and attaching your self-worth and your focus to those things versus all these other things that are literally going to be forgotten in about 2 weeks.
You basically have been working since you're 14 years old when you started mining Bitcoin. Do you have any habits or routines that keep you at the top of your game, mentally and physically?
Have any what? Sorry.
Do you have any habits or routines that keep
Oh,
you on
habits.
top of your game? Yes, both mentally and physically.
Um, I wish I had more. I don't know. I probably don't eat very well, or sleep very well. I think some things. I mean, I have a wonderful girlfriend, who, you know, a very happy like home life. I have a little dog that I love deeply. Uh, I love to play video games. I've been playing a lot of like this game Path of Exile, too, which I enjoy a lot. I actually made it to like top 300 on the hardcore leaderboard at one point. Like things that basically are relaxing and let me like unwind for a little bit after thinking about this stuff all day, I think is very helpful for me to like maintain focus for the next day. Uh, I don't know if those would work for everyone. Um, I think the other thing is like probably the best thing that I've ever built is the team, um, at the ICL and formerly Skip. Like we have a genuinely incredible team. Like I view as like world class, not even within crypto, but outside of crypto. Um, the quality of engineer, the level of care, the level of honesty and openness that the team has with each other, and we're in person, right? It's very different from most crypto companies. Like we literally work next to each other, we hang out with each other, we cry with each other, we celebrate with each other. Like it's really like a team. It's like a sports team, um, and that makes me extremely motivated, right? Like I genuinely enjoy going into the office, and I get to work every day with my best friend, my longest friend, or my oldest friend, and my best friend from the first year of college, who I lived with and done a lot of things with. Like we know each other very deeply, we trust each other, we're on the same page about this stuff, and so yeah, it's just like you kind of change your perspective from like I'm leading this thing to I'm like participating in this greater thing, which is like the team, because like anyone on the team could replace me and be just as good.
Yes, I totally understand. I really miss those office days. Back in the day, I worked in an office like 200 people, and now we have an office here. Here is our office, but everybody's everywhere, not at the office, on their phones somewhere. And I miss those days, as you said, that you go into your office and everybody's team, people are near each other and everything. The good old days.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I am fortunate to get to live that, most days.
as a
Definitely. Yeah.
TLDR of this discussion that we had, how do you see Cosmos in the next 5-10 years, and what would its ultimate legacy to look like in the blockchain space?
Um, so right now we're doing the absolute basics, right? We're literally setting the most basic foundations for what is to come. Um, we are doing very simple things, right? We are aligning chains around a common goal, which is and a common asset and shelling point, which is Atom.
Gathering the troops.
Yeah, we are basically giving the entire believer base, our existing believer base, like hope that there is a future, right? The most basic things. Um, we are actually making some good products that use the tech we've already built in the ways that make it go mainstream, right? These are like year one, year two things tops, right? Ideally, they're going to happen significantly faster. Um, Longer term, there are much bigger battles that we need to fight and we need to be prepared for as a community of people who align with this vision. We need to fight basically building technology that is completely airtight and uncensorable and verifiable. There's a significant amount of progress on privacy that I think we should be participating in, because I think that is long-term very important. We need to be expanding the reach of our internet to as wide as the traditional internet, which means massively increasing distribution to entering it, and having localized hubs around the world that actually tell people in different communities what we are building and making sure that they have the ability to participate. And basically to offer an alternative to the traditional internet and to create a culture and online ethos for that alternate internet, right? So, for example, Sentinel DVPN is a Cosmos project. They have about 400,000 active users per day. They're one of the most popular VPN providers, and they use their blockchain, their Cosmos blockchain, as a decentralized hash table and set of nodes that allows you to access bandwidth across the world. That is literally a product that moves us in the direction of building an open and decentralized internet.
And people when they use it, they don't know it's Cosmos tech.
Yeah, they don't. The applications built on top of it are in the App Store, and they don't say Cosmos on them.
Exactly.
Right?
That's the dream, right?
Right. I mean, it is the dream, but it is important for people to know that they are building on a different internet when they use that, like a completely different one with different trust assumptions, with different people and different applications, and that internet is a much better future than the way that we are going right now. It is a significantly better future for mankind. It is something where people have freedom. It is something where people have independence. It is something where people can converse without the threat of backlash. It is something where people can trade their assets and own their assets freely. It is like a much brighter future. It is something that scales with humanity versus scaling with nation states, right? I think people need to understand this. And so we have to fight that fight, right? And start small. Like we're doing like the most basic things. Eventually, it means getting real applications that can compete with existing applications in Web 2 and making them even better on Web 3, and making them scale to more places, and to make sure that builders understand that understand the choice that they're making of building on our internet, building on the decentralized internet, the internet of blockchains, or building on the traditional internet.
Sounds good, Magmar. We are now entering the last chapter of the podcast, and we want to wrap things up with some rapid fire questions to get a sense out where your head's at when it comes to crypto. But for these ones, just quick top of the mind answers. Besides Cosmos, what's got you most excited about crypto these days? And besides Ethereum and Solana, of course.
Sorry, I know these were meant to be rapid fire, but I have to think about this one. I think I'm generally quite excited by decentralized file storage and decentralized data. So things like IPFS, things like Arweave, I think are like very exciting to me. I view them as like a building block that was missing for a long time in building like truly decentralized applications.
What's the most underrated and overrated idea in crypto right now?
I think underrated, the most underrated idea is owning your own consensus. So having your own consensus algorithm on your own data that you own and is like backed by your own chain. It gives you like superpowers that I think most people deny, but are so unbelievably real. Like, for example, being able to like run your own oracle along your own terms and run your own specialized infrastructure on your blockchain alongside your own nodes, like, and do that in an extremely censorship resistant and verifiable way. Like, this is something that rollups will never be able to do, ever, or like smart contracts will never be able to do. but it like unlocks literally 99% of the applications that have not been on crypto that should be on crypto. Overrated idea. I think some of the new interop things that are coming out are overrated, mostly because like most of these have already been solved to like a much larger degree by IBC. Like all these like new like exciting protocols like CCIP, it's like just use IBC. Like it's already years beyond. Like they'll eventually catch up to IBC, but it's just a marketing difference. And so like I view that as hugely overrated.
One piece of advice for founders entering the rabbit hole of crypto and Cosmos?
I think you should try to talk to me. If you're lost, like I'm pretty good at getting you connected to the right people. Like I answer almost every Twitter DM that I can. And just start building something and learning, right? Because no matter what ecosystem you're learning in, you're going to learn about the fundamentals of everything. And I will say, if you understand Cosmos, you'll be able to understand anything else in crypto because it's all a subset. It's all like at some point, basically a subset of one of the ideas in Cosmos. I learned this myself by learning Tendermint and learning Cosmos SDK and learning how things work in Cosmos. There's nothing else in crypto that I'm like, oh, this is novel and completely different. Like it's all somehow related to those ideas. And so like you're actually doing it on hard mode.
Favorite Web3 apps that you actually use?
Kepler, I use daily. I tried to get into Pump.fun. I couldn't do it. It was not a successful endeavor. Geez, what else do I use? I mean, I use SkipGo. That's like a shameless shill for myself. I use Stride a lot. I do a lot of liquid staking. Yeah, in Ethereum, I use Blur. I've used it in the past. I don't really use it very often anymore. I've used Pendle a little bit, very small amount, and then quickly got kind of bored. And I use DYDX. I'm a big fan of DYDX. I used to trade on it a lot. I still do whenever I want to make stupid trades with leverage. So that's probably like my subset of like the most used.
Are you a trader?
Very rarely. These days, I don't trade at all. I've just been buying Atom to be fully honest. It's really my only position. I view it as just sort of like, this is all I work on, so I may as well buy it.
Exactly.
So
makes the most sense.
but I don't really trade it, right? Like I just try to accumulate.
Yeah. What's a crypto-related topic you've completely changed your mind in the past year?
Crypto-related topic that I've changed my mind on?
Yes.
I used to believe that having your own custom VM was important to building a successful ecosystem. I no longer believe this. So, like, I no longer believe that having your own special VM for your own special architecture is important. I think any VM works. And the thing that is different is, can you create network effects for your application? And can you create your chain to be application specific enough to make your VM, that instantiation of the VM, more powerful than elsewhere? So for example, like if the hub were to have an EVM, right, Ethereum VM, that's not bad. And we can actually generate like we could generate very like specialized applications and unique applications, as long as we are providing the chain functionality that lets the on-chain smart contracts do that.
Before we wrap this up, Magmar, do you want to say anything else to the Cosmos community or the crypto community as a whole?
I feel like I've said a lot. Yeah, ultimately, like the question that I like to ask is like, why are you doing this? Like, really, why are you doing this? Obviously, part of it is to make money. Like that is always the case for everyone. Everyone has to make money, so it's not an issue, right? But like, why make money here? And like, why actually invest the time to like be part of these communities and learn? It's like, even if you don't see it, there's probably something inside of you that's like, wait, this is actually probably the future, or like, I'm genuinely excited about where this is going. what I think is true is like really try to find the projects that believe that, and really try to find the founders that are on the same page as you, and like double down on those things, because those things will last, but most things will not last. 99% of what like you're in now or what you're thinking about now like will not exist in a year. This is like just how crypto works. The things that I thought were going to be important in 2021 that were hype and exciting, they're all gone, except for like maybe 0.1% of them. And so I think being choosy and taking a long-term perspective is absolutely the way to go.
Thank you for everything, Magmar. I know you're a busy man.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Have a great one.
Sure. Thanks.